Thousand Miles, Chapter 4, Marching Troops. Mama, Papa, soldiers are coming, Emmy screamed as her parents, who were working in the fields, planting corn. Her parents heard her frantic cries and ran to the cabin. A soldier grabbed 10-year-old Emmy by the arms. Dustu, now 13, had gotten taller and stronger. Let go of her, let go, Dustu tried to pry the soldier's hands off his sister. The soldier struck Dustu in the face with the end of his rifle. Blood trickled down Dustu's cheek. Dustu, Mama, Emmy cried. Just as Mom and Papa approached the cabin, a soldier charged toward them on his horse, blocking their path to the children. Mr. Rivers, Mrs. Rivers, you are under arrest, the soldier told them. Arrest? For what? Papa asked in disbelief. For illegally occupying the land in the state of Georgia. You had 2 years to migrate. Your time is up. Dustu saw Henry Alden's father step forward. Captain Alden held handcuffs. He placed Mama and Papa in them. Children, Captain Alden commanded, make no more trouble. Follow along. Dustu looked into his mother's eyes. Her eyes told him to obey the soldier and no one would get hurt. Emmy, come, Dustu told his little sister, but Emmy was terrified, too terrified to move. What about my toys, our clothes, our animals? Emmy cried to Captain Alden. Leave them. They don't belong to you anymore, he barked and shoved her toward her parents. Captain Alden went to the cabin. Another soldier stood guard by the Rivers family. Mama whispered to Dustu and Emmy, take a good look. We won't be back ever again. Chickens darted across Mama's pen. Dustu's pony stood in the corral. The dog hid under the porch. Mama looked as if she were fighting back tears. Don't cry, Papa whispered. Don't you ever let them see you cry. Emmy had her arms around Mama's waist. Her face was buried in Mama's skirt. Dustu watched as Captain Alden gave the all-clear signal. No Indian was left on the property. Move, the other soldier ordered. He shoved Papa at a bayonet point. March. When Dustu's family marched to the end of the property, a group of white settlers were waiting by the fence gate. Proceed, Captain Alden told the group of settlers. Like hungry wolves, they charged toward the cabin. Dustu and his family watched as the settlers looted their home. Men came out of the cabin and carrying food, tableware, clothes, and the children's toys. A man dressed in rags grabbed Dustu's pony. Another man snatched the chickens and placed them in a wooden crate. The dog barked but stayed firmly planted beneath the captain's porch. What are they doing, Papa? Emmy asked. Stealing. Captain Alden looked Papa in the eyes. Nothing on this property belongs to you anymore. Now march. The Rivers family walked about a half a mile until they met up with another band of soldiers. These soldiers too had Cherokee families under arrest. Dustu knew the Cherokee families. Because of the soldiers, no one was allowed to talk. We've shared the same fate. All was taken. We have nothing, Dustu thought. Rather than cry, Dustu felt angry. How could the United States government break treaties and treat people in such an unjust way? March, Indians. We're to make it to the fort by nightfall. The fort? Emmy whispered to Dustu. The army fort, 20 miles off. He knew Henry's father had often had to travel there because of government orders. Why? No doubt that will be our prison, Papa said as he stepped behind his children. March, stop gabbing and lollygagging. The soldier pointed his bayonet at Papa's face. Papa nodded and continued to walk. The pace was slow but steady. They were not allowed to rest. They drank little water while they walked. No one had food. Mama, I'm hungry, Emmy said. Me too. Perhaps we will eat tonight at the fort. Perhaps? You don't know if we will eat? Mama shook her head. She turned her eyes down the dusty path. By nightfall, the soldiers and the Cherokees had made it to the fort. Water station here, Captain Alden shouted to the crowd. Food here. He pointed to the far corner of the fort. At gunpoint, soldiers ushered the family groups to each station. After filling their bowls with water and porridge, the Rivers family was allowed to sit and rest. Captain Alden is a traitor, Papa said quietly. His family pretended to be our friends. And then they arrest us and let renegades loose on our property to steal from us. I hope his God can forgive him, Mama added. Mama stroked Emmy's head as it rested on Mama's shoulder. Sweet girl, you look exhausted. Rest. Emmy's feet were covered in dirt. Her dress and apron were soaked in sweat. Dustu's trousers and shirt were dusty. We look like beggars, Dustu remarked. I'm sure that's what they want, Papa replied, to beat us down and humiliate us. Mama started to tear her petticoat under her skirt. Woman, what are you doing? Papa asked in astonishment. Immokalee does not have her shoes, so I will make her some. Who knows where they will take us from here or how far we'll have to walk. Those cloths will do no good. They may not be as thick as true shoes, but they will certainly help protect her from sharp rocks and thorns. Watch. Mama wrapped the cloth around Emmy's feet 4 times. When Mama finished, she tore off 4 strips of fabric from her apron. She took that fabric and tied it around Emmy's ankles, just like shoelaces. A little cushion and protection for her feet, Mama said proudly. Emmy wriggled her toes and smiled. It feels like very heavy socks. They'll have to do until we can get you a real pair of shoes. Papa, perhaps you could ask the soldiers if they have extra boots for us. I will ask, but I cannot make promises. Papa walked to the soldier by the water station. Excuse me, officer, the officer grunted in reply. My daughter does not have shoes for the journey. Do you have any boots she might borrow? The officer laughed in Papa's face. Go back and sit with your family, Indian. You'll get no handouts from me. But she's just a child. The journey is long. It is not my problem you did not come prepared. Your troops did not give us time to pack or prepare. You had 2 years. Dustu heard his father's conversation with the officer. He ran up to Papa's side. He could see the frustration building in his father's face. Papa, come sit with us. Mama said not to worry. Come. Papa turned to look at Dustu. Your sister does not have shoes. That's okay, Papa. I'll share with her. Papa looked at the officer. A boy will sacrifice for a little girl. Perhaps there is still goodness in this world. Dustu practically dragged his father away from the officer. Dustu did not want his father beaten or killed by an angry soldier over a pair of shoes. Papa, sit with me. Drink some water. Mama said, patting the ground. We will survive. We will not break. I promise. Emmy nestled herself on Papa's lap. I will be strong, Papa. I will not break. A tear slid down Papa's cheek. Stop that, Papa. You yourself told the children not to cry. I know, Papa paused. But this is all my fault. It is not, Mama replied. Yes, it is. If I had listened and moved us 2 years ago, we might have already had a new home built. Perhaps me what might even have taken our belongings. Emmy's shoes even. We didn't think it would come to this. Remember, Chief John Ross fought the act. The Supreme Court even ruled in our favor. We thought we'd be safe from removal. Papa's head hung low. He rubbed his forehead. We weren't. Mama leaned into Papa and placed her arms around him. We will persevere. We are Cherokee. We are smart, resourceful, strong. We are strong enough to walk 1,000 miles, Dustu asked. Mama looked stricken. What? 1,000 miles? Yes, when Papa was arguing with the officer, I overheard other soldiers talking about a march to Oklahoma Territory. They said it's 1,000 miles. We can't walk that far, Emmy said. Mama clenched her jaw. She looked resolved. We can and we will. We will prove to them that they can't destroy us.